welcome back to the Life of Phys podcast, where we explore creativity, resilience, and the stories that shape us. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. Today we're joined by Rachael Galipo, a photographer, model, and director based in Salt Lake City, Utah. Rachel's creative world is built on spirit, play, and presence. Her work invites you to step directly into her frames, to feel the energy of each moment as if you were standing beside her. Driven by vulnerability and the power of connection, her journey has taken her from the rugged landscapes of Chile to the steep canyon walls of Colombia, where she documented climbers carving new lines into untouched rock. Whether she is on a 15-day road trip, shooting a tourism campaign with a crew she just met, or capturing outerwear in remote mountain ranges, Rachael brings a contagious enthusiasm to every set. Her attitude towards life mirrors the strength of her work ethic. She is a force, and she elevates everyone around her. When she is not behind the camera, she is often in front of it, a dual perspective that gives her a rare understanding of the creative process. She has modeled for brands such as Mobil, TNF, Visit Utah, Pickler, and many more. She believes that moving between roles in the industry gives her a deeper sense of empathy and awareness while keeping the work fun. Outside of assignments, Rachael finds herself outdoors or connecting with people through passion projects. She often shoots on a large format film camera gifted by her uncle, a tool that reconnects her with the roots of the craft. She says she feels the most excitement and joy behind the camera because it is all about the process. A storyteller through every lens she touches, and a creator who radiates energy, sincerity, and passion. Now let's get to the show.
Yeah. And I guess I also want to preface for listeners that this is a redo podcast. And I think I want to let people know that when we first did our first podcast, like we talked about, definitely have been going through some personal things, and I was not in the right mental headspace. And I'm sure you could tell a little bit, like I was definitely having a hard time answering questions only because my brain literally could not keep up. And I think thinking about our previous podcast, I just wanted to answer questions a little bit more clearly, and just in a better headspace way. 'Cause, yeah, that's a real part of this mission.
And it's part of my show in general. So like when you reached out and you're like, "Hey, I'm just thinking here." I'm all for making sure that the podcast is something that you're comfortable with. It's not the whole journey of this is, yes, I want it to sound good and be good, but it's about making sure that you're comfortable and that you're happy with the episode that we're going to put out.
Yeah, and just like totally real. I was having an off day the day we originally met, and that happens a lot, especially in this industry. And yeah, so navigating those days are sometimes really hard. I still show up, but it might not be to the best of my potential.
But that's the thing. I mean, I battle with severe depression and anxiety, and I have to tell myself every single morning when I wake up in bed and my brain goes, whoopity-doo, another day of work. Do you have to go? Nah, you don't have to go. I have to fight myself. Okay, it's time to get up. By the time I start getting that coffee in, I've given myself that pep talk and I'm ready to rock. And I'll be honest, I have it with some of these episodes of the show.
Yeah.
I look at my schedule. I get overwhelmed. I think I still have 30 more to record. And I look at them, and some mornings when I wake up, I don't want to do it. I'm like, I'm not in the headspace. But then I set the camera up. I turn the light on. I sit here for 15 minutes before, usually editing an episode that I'm working on. And then I'm like, okay, let's go. So it's not just the guests. So when people are listening, it's me. I suffer with all this all the time. Or when you start looking, the worst thing for me is numbers. I start looking at numbers of how the show's doing. How many, I was in 73 countries last month. Why am I only in 73 still? That's 73 countries. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So you start looking at all these numbers. So I've tried to turn analytics off. I look at episode motion once an evening before bed just to see how the episodes are doing.
Yeah.
But I don't concern myself anymore with the likes and comments because while all of my comments so far have been very positive, getting caught up in comments can be super negative and just take you down pretty darn quickly.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Whenever
All
you're
right,
ready.
let's get to it.
I think I'm recording, so we're
I
good.
think I heard it. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachael Galipo. I am a freelance photographer, director, and model here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And yeah, I am extremely excited to be here today to talk to you.
Round two.
Round two, let's go.
I've always been a big fan of your work, and I just got fascinated by your story. One, catching action on a large format camera, hella impressive. Two, as a dad to three girls, I love hearing the journey of women creatives. My two of my daughters are very much in the field. One's a photographer. One is she's a sound specialist in the movie industry, and it's people like yourself where I can show you and show what you're doing and say, hey, look, she's got tons of work. She's done tons of things, but there's still processes. There's still steps. There's still downtimes. There's still all of these things that happen, even when you have an established portfolio. So don't call me crying because something happened. Be like, Dad, this happened. And I'll be like, you know what? You got this. Like, just remember, there's a ladder, there's steps, and keep pushing. It's gonna work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I see, I can't even compare to, I mean, I'm not trying to compare, but I can't even compare to what you, as a dad of three and running a podcast and a full job and, like, I can't even begin to fathom. I'm just a girl living in this world. That's me right now. Yeah, we got bumps and bruises, but nothing you can't work through, that's for sure. But no, that's amazing to hear that your daughters are, growing in the world of the arts. How did they get into that? Through you?
No. So my photography quest actually came from my oldest daughter. So
Hmm.
she got into photography and
Yeah.
got heavy into it in high school. Showed promise. So we did everything we could to get her the best camera we could afford. And she just her skill set when it comes to what she does is impressive. She's been off for a while to being a mom. She's got two boys, but it's like it all started with her going away to work in Mexico, and she's like asked me if I wanted to buy old camera because she needed some extra money, and I said okay, and it hooked me.
Yeah.
And then my other daughter, she's always loved movies, and through high school she got into learning about film and all of this stuff and started doing really well, and then got herself into university and just finished 4 years of her photo or her video course.
Hmm.
Graduated with a bachelor's of motion picture arts degree. No, is it a bachelor's? I think so. Yeah. I can't remember right now. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here. Um, but yeah, no, so it's really neat to see being a single dad for 10 years before I met my current partner. I didn't know if my kids were even going to make it through high school because it was such a stressful environment. And then you start to see like you don't need the things. You don't need Christmas time doesn't need to be about overindulgence. It needs to be about the being there as a unit, being together. So you would do like one kind of special gift and then necessities,
Yeah.
and they became accustomed to that. There was never a complaint. There was never a dad, you suck. There was none of this stuff. It was just, that was just the way it was. We aren't, I'm not a big celebrator of these holidays. I could find a million things I'd rather do, but watching them understand that you don't need a ton of money and you don't need a ton of things as long as you work together was probably the coolest lesson of the whole experience for me.
Yeah.
my stresses aside, selling my car I didn't have a car for 2 years. I walked everywhere. I left a career to work in a bicycle shop just to be home every day at 5 o'clock. And that was hard because I had a established lifestyle that no longer could be supported. And I put myself in a deep financial situation because I tried to continue doing it on way less salary. But you work your way through it, and you come out stronger, and they come out with life lessons. And you hope. The one thing I hope about all of my kids is, one, I always tell them I'm proud of them when I feel like I'm proud of them, something I never had growing up. I never heard it, "I'm proud of you," ever from my dad, and I never heard it really from my mom until a couple days before she passed away. So, I find that some people are like, "Oh, my kids know." Well, tell them, just let them know you're proud of the journey they're on and that you support that journey, whether it's being an artist, whether it's being a doctor, a lawyer, whether it's working at McDonald's, but they're just killing it and loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Just support the journey of your children, because
sorry.
No, it's all good. It's just, I hear so many people, and like I suffer with my own. I'm in my head all the time. I'm on new antidepressants I don't have zero feelings right now. That's the thing. It's like, I don't feel nothing, and I don't like it because I feel like I'm just this wall. So, you got to work through it. So if you start something, if say your doctor wants to put you on something, try it. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about it and get on the right stuff, because it really does make a difference in your day to day.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as you talk about this, I just envision your kids and your partner telling you how proud they are of you. Like I can sense that is something that happens, especially around Christmas.
They do. And it's weird. It's hard for me to accept because I was never used to it.
Totally.
And I'm the most hypercritical person of me, of what I do, I have this thing is I just want to leave something in this world that made this world a little bit better. And I don't feel like now I'm starting to feel like it with the show, because it's being reached, people are being reached by it, and they're feeling what I'm putting out. Mm-hmm. But, I just want to leave a mark. It doesn't have to be leaving money or things for my children. What it has to do is I want my grandkids to be like, that was my grandpa. How cool is that? You want to leave a legacy.
And I'm sure they already are saying that. Because I'm already saying that. I'm just like, damn, dude, that's amazing. All the things you're doing and how you are, someone that your kids, your partner, your grandkids can look up to. Like, I feel it, and I'm sure they feel it.
I appreciate that. It's one of those journeys that no matter what I accomplish or what I do, it will never be enough for me personally. But knowing that I have that support from my family and from you and from pretty much everybody I've had on the show, we just connect through the story. And it's neat to support each other and create this community of people who are in love with the craft that we do. Mm-hmm. But also we can see, like you were just at Red Bull Rampage, and I'm on Instagram flicking, and I'm like, hell yeah, click. This is rad. I'll be, as a cyclist, Rampage is huge. So I was like, dang, she's right in the mix. You're not on the outskirts. You're like up on the hill holding this heavy ass camera in this ridiculously warm place and just killing it. And so just so you know, I was cheering you on. I was super proud to see you out there.
Oh, thank you.
And I can't wait to, man, people don't even know your backstory. We haven't even got there yet. We just went on this tangent right in the beginning. We should, because I got 45 minutes and I got to get people up for school.
Perfect. We can do it.
Let's do this. So that was Tyson's tangent for the beginning of the episode. Now,
I love it. I'm here for it.
Now we're gonna hear about Rachael and all the incredible things she's done and her wisdom. And if you can't tell, I'm a huge fan of her work and her as a person. So let's hear your story.
Yeah. So yeah, the like not quick and dry, but the slimmed down version so we can get to the meat and potatoes.
Oh yeah.
So I am from New Jersey. I grew up playing sports, like only sports. I played on an all boys hockey team, all girls hockey team, lacrosse, ballet, soccer, softball, honestly, you name it. My family was super into the sports. And yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, I got to expand myself physically and on the field, which felt really good. But yeah, had always felt like there was something else. And by the time I think I was in middle school, probably seventh grade, I started to express myself through my clothes. And I guess you could call it being emo or goth. I'm not really sure which one I was. I have no idea. But I was one of them. I was that girl who had the big hair, the tight jeans, the band tees, the seven studded belts, all the necklaces, all the jewelry, whatever, dyed hair. In high school, I think I was a freshman. I my locker was next to the quarterbacks because we had the same, like pretty similar last names, so it was alphabetical order. And by the time I was a senior, he had told me our freshman year he was too scared to go to his locker when I was there. I don't know. I was nice. I was not like, I didn't bite, but I just expressed myself in a very different way. Actually, I don't know if you can see this photo. It's emo Rachel holding a butterfly.
What a
My grandma had it in her house, and honestly, right before she passed away, my grandma gifted that to my partner. And yeah, now we have it. Emo Rachel holding butterfly. I don't know what that meant at the time, but hey, it was fun. It was fun.
but that's how we learn. Like, we go through stages, right? We have different seasons of our lives,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like when I moved to Canada after, playing sports my whole life. And at 15, I walked in to this high school and at 6'2", 205 pounds, like I was a big kid and it was like a sea of these tiny people. And
Hmm.
I'd walk down the hall and you'd see everybody stare and it was like the parting of the seas to let me go through and oh, don't talk to him, he's a narc, because 21 Jump Street was filmed at our school, so that was the era. And everybody was like, yeah, he's undercover guaranteed. And I'm like, I'm a 15-year-old kid who just moved
Yeah,
to a
what are
new
you talking
country.
about?
But and eventually, like, one guy there, he's like, I want to fight you because we have the same name. That would be a
Okay.
very bad idea, but okay. And I'm trying to navigate not having any friends, not having any family. It's just my mom and I back where my mom grew up, trying to, be 15 and express yourself. And all I wanted to do is ride my skateboard.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about this outside the box of industry that we work through is, you go to school wearing a Bones Brigade hoodie and the one another skater's like, hey, do you skate? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's meet after school and I'll show you around. And,
Yeah.
that became a lifelong friendship with my friend Owen, who unfortunately passed away Christmas Eve a couple years ago after a healthy kick ass of cancer. And unfortunately, it ended up beating him. But he had the best mentality through the whole fight.
Yeah.
And he took me under his wing and was willing to be a friend with the big dude from Oregon, and basically changed my life here in Canada. And that opened those doors. So being outside the box really doesn't. People need to stop judging that. There's a reason for it. Everybody likes to express themselves differently, and we
Mhm.
can all get along as long as we can. You stop judging. Everybody
Yeah.
judges, and it's so crazy.
Ugh.
Another,
Massive eye roll for everyone listening.
uh, that's me on another tangent this morning. Jeez.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can totally relate. Like being a little different, people, especially in New Jersey, do not know how, like, they don't know how to accept it. And I'm not saying that I wasn't accepted in my school, but there were definitely like like James, he was just, oh, that's different. I don't need to, I don't need to be around it, but that's different. And then we ended up being best friends in high school my senior year. It was such a, I went from being completely emo to like totally sporty and outdoorsy and probably shopped at Holster. Like, I don't even know. I went through many, many phases. So, yeah, then my grandpa, who was super into chemistry, like always in labs and just a little crazy. He also enjoyed being out in nature, going on hikes and just exploring different ways of life. I mean, you're in a lab, you're, you know, doing all these things, and he's just like, well, there's also other things that I can do with my life. So, I mean, this is a man who's journaled every single day of his life since he was 15. I literally have two of his journals with me. And yeah, he's just a very dialed human being. And we went on a hike, and that was probably my first time being outside. I must have been, I don't know, maybe 15. And he had gifted me his 35 mil camera. Now, this was just something that I always had on me from that moment. I would take photos. My my parents' basement would fill up with film. And, back then, and especially in Jersey, we didn't have like cool, hip film development stores like we do here in Salt Lake. It was like CVS. You get it in an hour, you get a CD, you get your film strips, and you get little prints. And yeah, just like stacks of them in my parents' basement. I'm pretty sure they still rest there. And yeah, I just always had a camera in my hand, not necessarily ever going to be a photographer. I actually went to college, University of New Hampshire, after I kind of experienced the outdoors a little bit. After I graduated high school, I went on a really eye-opening trip to Peru. It was a service trip for 21 days. I essentially just did community service every day. I was like, if I'm going to go somewhere and go to these locations, visit these villages, and I just as much as I'm taking, I want to give back. So that was my only requirement, and that was a graduation gift from my family. I was super blessed to do that. And yeah, I got to, yes, explore, yes, take photos, but I also got to do incredible community service. And one of those is like build a high school for girls who had to walk 4 hours a day to get to school and back. Like that's insane. Super rugged terrain. Yeah.
What an
Yeah.
eye-opening experience.
Yeah, and I would say that trip, I didn't even know how to wear like a normal hiking backpack at all. I knew nothing about the outdoors. I was just like, this is something I want to do it. Let's go. And yeah, that would be the turning point to me kind of opening my eyes to nature, to being outside, to like feeling comfortable and able to express with no judgment. So yeah, I did that, and then I went to school, University of New Hampshire, and I studied psychology. So I was a psych major, art minor, and outdoor education. My goal was to eventually become a therapist, in art therapy, in wilderness therapy, really anything that would allow students and individuals to connect through alternative routes. Like I do understand, RX drugs are great, but I also think they're even better when they're paired with some kind of alternative, you know, I- expression or tool.
I agree 100%. I mean, having a skateboard, having a bicycle, a motorcycle, whatever it is, rock climbing, you know, whatever that extra spark, it just adds to what you're trying to correct with the use of medication.
Exactly.
Like still to this day, I hear skateboards going down the street and I get excited. You hear
Yeah.
that? You
Yeah,
hear
that rolling of the wheel. I like know exactly, like just
the
yeah.
the click 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 click
Yep.
click 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 over the just the cracks in the sidewalk.
Yep.
Because I take the click of the shutter on my
Yeah.
camera. That's what's replaced the roll of the wheel for my skateboard.
Yeah.
But it's the same feeling in my body. And
Hmm.
that's why it's so important to me to express myself through my art form, which is photography and apparently talking to people. But when I look at your work, I mean, I was fascinated by the fact that you were doing stuff on a 4x5 and capturing action, and you're doing all this stuff. And I mean, that's not easy. That's incredible. So that brings, to your Uncle Frank, who, gifted you the amazingness that was this camera.
Hmm.
And why don't we get into how that worked after you were at university,
Yeah, totally.
and we'll
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. So as I graduated University of New Hampshire, I decided that I wanted to live in a van. And yeah, people from Jersey don't really do that. So when I was home for the summer trying to prep for leaving on this grand trip, my Uncle Frank gifted me a 4x5. It's a Cambo SC. So if people don't know what a 4x5 is, it's a large format camera that, you think of the typical, you go under the cloth and you have like your little explosion button on the side and have these massive slides with 4x5 film in them, and one slide can only take two frames. So yeah, I mean, when I moved into the van, I could not take that. I had such a small van and space was pretty critical, so I couldn't take it. Went on my journey, started, it was only supposed to be 6 months, and I actually had a job in New York, like probably a year later. And I got to New York, and as things happen sometimes, that job got canceled, but was already there. So I decided, well, I'm here. I'm not going to not do something creative. I was able to go home, pick up the 4x5, hang out with family, of course, and then go to New York to stay at a friend's house and do this fun little project where I just got to know 4x5. I had never shot on a 4x5. I had no idea if I was doing it right. No idea if I loaded the film properly. I just kind of wung it. And I would sit in, I think it was Washington Square Park. And I actually wouldn't, I did have the camera out for the first few I took, but I recognized that I was just gaining more attraction, like people's attraction from the camera. And I loved that, but I also wanted to get to know this person if I was taking their photos. So I would put the camera away and I would kind of like look around and be like, I want to go talk to that person. And I would just walk up to them and be like, give me 30 minutes if you have time, tell me your story. And at the end, I want to take your portrait. And as I started to do that, I just realized that the emotion that would come out in these portraits just meant a little bit more to me instead of just snapping photos of people. So I'm actually looking at some of them right now. Yeah, people felt way more comfortable in front of the camera, in front of this massive, clunky, I don't even know what it is, kind of box. Why is she going under a cloth? Like, why, why is she telling me to stay so still? Like, it was just less intimidating. So I got the emotional piece, I got their portraits, and one of them was my friend Julian, who's a skateboarder and a fashion designer. And I was watching him one day and I was like, I wonder if I could get like a frame of him skateboarding, which you would like this.
I'm
And
looking at the photo right now.
yeah, what is he doing? An
Kickflip.
ollie kickflip? Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. So I was like, all right, this line, I'm going to set my focus to this line. And Julian, we only have one shot because each of these frames probably cost about $15. And I am a broke, new to freelance photographer. So I have no extra cash to spend. So we have to do this right here. We don't know if we're going to get it until 2 weeks from now when it's developed. Like, such is life, like, kind of just going with the punches. So after that trip, I had recently, I guess I kind of skimmed over the whole van thing. Got back to to Bend. I was a teacher for a while, and teaching wasn't what I originally wanted to do. But I actually think this was another critical turning point in my life. Um, I was a teacher at the climbing academy, and essentially we climbed and schooled every day. It's a fully accredited private school. I taught AP Human Geography, media productions, English, junior and senior seminar. And I did that for 2 years and it was great. And obviously, the climbing was epic. We traveled the world. I mean, we spent a lot of time in Spain and I loved it, but I was never meant to be a teacher. I really tried. I don't know if you can tell, but I like challenging myself. And
Just a little bit.
yeah, just a little bit. I definitely left college being like, I'm never going to be a teacher. That shit is hard. But I did it and I did it for 2 years. And on one of my break days, I shot with Jonathan Segrist. He's a professional climber for Arc'teryx. And I basically, on my off days, did a shoot for him. And when I got back, my students wanted to see the images I got. I mean, shooting with J Star is pretty rad. Hanging out with T Mac and J Star all day in the cave is really cool. And I'm young and I'm hungry and I'm just in awe that I have this opportunity as a fairly, I wasn't freelance yet, but I was just shooting around having fun. And Bella was one of my students and she was like, I'm going to get the whole school. I want them to look at these photos. And
I'm recording.
I'm getting ready for work.
That's my son with his attitude.
I love it.
He's not a morning person apparently.
It's okay. Sometimes I'm not.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna mute my mic while he's getting ready. So continue your story.
totally. Yeah, so yeah, come back from this shoot with Jonathan and T Mac and Bella is like, I'm gonna get the school together. We want to see these photos. And I was like, whoa, my students want to like they're not that they weren't interested in what I was doing, but the way that Bella brought it up to me, she was just very encouraging. She's probably 16 and just like made me feel like, okay, cool. Like I will actually present these images. And by the end of the presentation, she raised her hand in this like super innocent, knows nothing about the industry way. And she's like, Rachel, don't take offense to this. We love you as a teacher. You do really well, but I really think your strongest suit is in photography. And I took that to heart. After graduation, I spent 2 weeks just trying to navigate, like, figuring out a website, navigating how I was going to get into this freelance world. And about 2 weeks later, I assisted a photographer that I eventually worked a year for and was grateful enough to learn X, Y, and Z, the behind the scenes, the in front of the scenes, the really crummy things, the really special things, how to communicate, how to build a treatment, how to build a budget, all these things in a year. And that kind of another turning point that, I said yes to. I challenged myself and it paid off, even though it was really hard. So, yeah, 4.5 years in a van. I was asked to assist this photographer, and essentially he was like, you need to come down to Salt Lake. And I was like, okay, great. I'm going to leave my dirtbag ways, and just figure out how to do this. And I would like to note that in those 4.5 years, I worked 4 different jobs in every different season. I was either plowing snow, working at a bakery, working as a teacher, working wilderness therapy, or I can't even remember the other jobs I did, but just like very random things to keep this search of more of that thing that I previously mentioned, that like there's more to this life. And I need to go seek it out. So I do want to note that because that's pretty important pieces to my story. Then I moved to Salt Lake and I knew no one. And I moved into a house for the first time, and that was very weird. I like remember getting into my my new room and there was rug on the floor and I just like put my face into the rug and was like, "Oh my God, this is what a rug feels like." Like,
Oh,
you
well,
know.
yeah, after 4.5 years of being in this tiny box.
Yeah, and standing in a kitchen, not hunched over, like, it just was a very different way of life, and I'm really happy I got to do that for so long. I don't think I could do it now. Now I'm 30 and I actually like comfort things. Like this office, this beautiful office that it allows me to expand my mind, my energy, my soul. So I'm very grateful to have that. But yeah, those 4 years were critical and it helped me grow into the person I am today and probably go through some of the hardest things I've ever gone through. Um, okay, so moved to Salt Lake. And yeah, like I said, knew no one and just, I don't know, shot my shot and went into Essential Photo Supply. Shout out Ken and Lisa. I love them so much. I call them my mom and dad of Salt Lake. And I showed him these 4x5 images, and he's like, "Oh my God, these are beautiful. These are beautiful." And then he passes the image of Julian, and I was like, "Oh," or he was like, "Oh my gosh, okay. Wait, let me go back to that. How many times did it take you to get this one image?" And I was like, "One." Like I only wasted. I only took one frame of him skateboarding, and he was like, "You shot this on a 4x5," and he was amazed. As was I guess at that moment I was like, I didn't think anything of it. But apparently it's kind of hard to capture motion on a 4x5.
And then you've taken it to so many different mountain biking,
Mountain biking,
cliff jumping,
climbing.
rock climbing.
Mhm.
Unreal.
Yeah, so this one thought of like, trying to lay some roots down in this very new city. I mean, I've been living life on the road and then all of a sudden I moved to a huge city. Like that was a very big change. And yeah, Ken encouraged me to have an art show. So for the next 9 months, every job I would have in a location, I would be like, what's the sport there? And my first one was mountain biking. It was actually around was that around my first Rampage? No, we were shooting for Red Bull Rampage. And I had asked two athletes if they wanted to be a part of this fully self engineered project. And yeah, they said yes. I got two mountain bikers. One of them is Sam, and she's doing a suicide off a jump. And then one of them is DJ, and he is doing a hand plant off of a feature.
Which both are not easy to do
Yeah.
and to capture them on. And those are all 4x5.
All 4x5. Yeah, that whole page is all 4x5. And I think like in my friend made a little documentary about this story, and I want to bring to light that I actually don't know what I'm shooting when the film is in there because my viewfinder essentially gets blocked. So I look through the viewfinder under my little blanket in my little accordion of a box, and I watch them do the trick maybe 3 times. And I'm like, okay, I need to move it this way, I need to put it in focus, da 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 da. Then it comes time to when you load the film in. Okay, no view. Like I have no idea what's happening. So when they would go for the trick, I would essentially have this feeling in my chest. And from there, like I'd be like, okay, here we go. All right, let's go. Like I would just feel it and click. I could probably do it with my eyes closed, honestly, because that's what it felt like. I was kind of doing it blind. And yeah, it turned out to be in my opinion, in Ken and Lisa's opinion, a very successful art show. And I worked my ass off for 9 months, and I'm extremely grateful. And I faced a lot of challenges, and I may have been a little bit broke after that show. But yeah, it allowed me to enter a new place, not knowing people and having that many people show up. And Ken even said, he's like, "Hey, can you give a speech?" And I was like, "Oh boy. Okay." And I blacked out. So I stood on this table, blacked out, and essentially made a blacked out from excitement and just I was overwhelmed and so nervous. And I got up there and essentially I just talked about how, I just came into this community. Like I'm super grateful people are coming here to look at my art. But this isn't about me. This isn't about the art. This is about the community that I just entered and like, look at this place. It's like packed wall to wall. And I want people to connect and I want people to enjoy just like being in a space altogether because that doesn't often happen. Our lives are so busy. So I kind of focused on that. And that's my 4x5 story. It's a fun journey.
I mean, now look where you're at. I look at, I'm just like, I'm on your website and I'm looking at your brand work. And have you ever stopped and just looked at some of the brands you've worked with?
You know what? I recently have because I went from typing out the brands to putting their actual logos. And yeah, that was a moment.
Gosh, it should be a moment because it's an incredible list of some incredible companies, and your work is phenomenal. You know, I was super excited when I saw you started posting stuff with Live Cycling.
Yeah.
I worked for Giant, so
Oh, cool.
when the Live brand was released, we remodeled Giant branded stores. They had a defining point in dead center, so we had a whole woman section that
Yeah.
had like chandeliers. It had a different color scheme. It was designed around the female cyclist.
Hmm.
So and then you had the men's section, which was just boring, blue wall and bikes because you know the cycling industry especially can be very daunting for women. Walking
Yeah.
into a bike shop, we would get people that would come in and they'd be like, "Thank you for treating me like a person
Hmm.
and not talking down to me." And my whole goal was to make sure people left as stoked on bikes as I've been my whole life. It didn't matter if you were a man or a woman, a kid. It didn't matter if you were. I had one guy come in, he stood outside our door for like walking back and forth looking in. He was like 400 pounds, 420 pounds. And I was like, "Hey, you good?" He's like, "Oh, I went to another shop and they like kind of laughed at me when I told them what I wanted to do." And I was like, "What? Get in here." And he ended up going home with this e-bike. And over the next year, I watched him lose 150 pounds. And I was like, this is incredible. And he came and told the story and he had like tears in his eyes. And he thanked me for just treating him like a human being. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, you should always be treated like a human, man. We're all the same.
Yeah. I-
I just look at these brands, I look at the work you do, and I hope you're super proud of yourself because this list of accomplishments that you're showing are giving other women creatives and even myself this excitement to see that what, if I follow these steps, if I keep climbing the ladder and taking my time, anything's possible.
mhm.
So just keep doing what you're doing because you are inspiring a whole generation of people that want to be where you're at right now. And I mean, as we all know, you have this list of people that you've worked for. I mean, you have Red Bull on there. You've obviously made it. You don't even have to like pitch for jobs anymore. They just flow through the door.
Well, no. I wish it was all butterflies and rainbows over here, but no, I wish that was the case.
That was my lead in. I thought I did
Yeah,
that pretty
okay,
darn
great. I
good.
was like, yeah, no, that is not it. No, but honestly, I don't even think I would like that. I like working for a job. I like working for being fit and climbing. I like working for, you know, right now, currently, I have some health issues going on, and there's an easy route and then there's a hard route. The easy route is quite expensive, which is why I'm not doing it. But it's like, I don't want to just put a band-aid over it. I want to actually kill the root at its, kill it at its root. So, you know, yeah, once again, like to challenge myself. I like to have these opportunities that push me. Okay, so like right now, Red Bull Rampage, it was amazing. I felt so honored to be there. And the last 3 years have been incredible. In the first 2 years, I was just a fly on the wall. I was just there, didn't really, I mean, not that I didn't talk to anyone, but I wasn't networking and I wasn't trying to be like, come in as a hot shot. No, I was literally trying to learn and understand the way of live TV. That's very different from what I normally do. And this year I met the right people. I talked to them. I was good to be on set. I don't even know if you call that set. I was good to be around. I was fun. I was happy. I was engaged. I was excited to learn. And I was a camera PA. Okay, I'm a photographer, model, and director, and I have been hired as those roles on big sets. This, I was a camera PA, and I want to make that really clear because, I was cleaning lenses, I was changing batteries, I was running around like a mad person, just like trying to get to our next location, and doing everything that would make the camera op feel comfortable and like ready and focused. Because if you miss that shot,
But you're also
mm-mm.
doing it in a terrain that is steep, it
Yeah,
is hot, it is dangerous. It's so you are doing it at, yes, a level of running around and helping to having ready to do all these things, but
yeah,
you add in that extra element where you
yeah,
are on this
totally.
face that's just
Yeah, it's
gnarly.
pretty gnarly. If you fall in some places, like you could get hellied out. And yeah, a few individuals that I met just were like amazed. They were just like, you worked so hard and da 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 da. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that's what you do. You work hard. You don't just sit there and wait for something to fall into your lap. Like, thank you for noticing, but also that's just like who I am and how I operate. I love to work and maybe sometimes work too hard to achieve what I want to achieve. And, hopefully within the next few years, I might be becoming a camera op and in live stream TV for Free Ride for Red Bull Rampage. That's the goal. That's a very different goal that, I didn't expect, but if someone recognizes how hard I work and the abilities I have and they call me out on it, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like bulldoze and do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's so cool to see. Like my daughter was just she worked on Fear Factor Canada. We had talked about that on the first recording. But she
yeah.
she she specializes in sound. So that's what she wants to do. She wants to create, make sure the sound is great. You should hear her when she hears my podcast and it doesn't sound right.
And she's like,
Whew.
ah.
I offered, but in the beginning, I was like, you can edit them all. That's fine. You do it. I don't want to do it.
But
But she went on this first thing and she made an impression. So now the guy who was in charge of sound for Fear Factor has brought her into other jobs and now is kind of taking her under her wing or under his wing to grow in the industry. And it's all from that hustle.
yeah,
You just show that initiative and you show that work
yeah,
and it pays off.
yeah. Some people are lucky enough or I don't even want to say lucky enough, but some people have situations where, yeah, they meet the right people, they have the right opportunity, boom.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, I just don't want that. I don't want it to be easy because then life would be so boring.
So another big aspect of the show is the connection between your creative outlet and your mental health, whether it's your rock climbing, your being out in nature, clicking the camera, filming a video. How important is your outlets to the happy, positive Rachel?
Yes, this has taken many years. Uh, I think wilderness therapy, being a infield worker, like infield staff, that was the word I was looking for. I learned a lot about how important maybe the first hour of wake time is to me. I don't know if that's how everyone feels, but I just recognize that the first hour should be only for me, and I need to be selfish in that first hour. This looks like me getting up, not turning on my phone, not looking at my phone, because that light is actually pretty like detrimental to all of like your organs and just everything that your body's like slowly starting to wake up. You don't want to like blast it. So yeah, I get up, I do 10 minutes of meditating, I do 20 minutes of just, I call it morning movement, and that's like mentally, physically, emotionally, the movements I'm doing for the morning. And then I try not to drink coffee for the first hour. Once again, your organs are slowly starting to wake up. So I try to do like lemon water. And it's so hippy dippy, but I don't care. It has like really impacted my life. I think you can tell from the last our first previous interview. I didn't get a chance to do my morning routine and I was jumbled. I was just like, "Ooh," like I am not present. But today I woke up really early and I was super, I mean, every day I wake up super early. And if I can do my morning movement, I do notice that it really impacts the rest of my day. Um, and then I try to go sit outside and just like get that sun, whether it's hot, cold, whatever, just get sun on the face and sun on the body because that's really good vitamins for the soul. And once again, waking up that body, waking up the organs, waking up all of like mental, emotional, physical aspects is so important in my life. Um, and yeah, hopefully people have found what is important to them, especially in the morning. Because yeah, I used to just like immediately go on my computer and look at the cam or look at the emails and Instagram and kind of be like stuck in this rut. And that is like not what I can do anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I've also noticed for like the creative aspect how important be having that still mind is to me. One thing I want to start doing is journaling a little bit more. I don't journal enough. I think it's because I'm super insecure about my writing. I don't feel as if my writing is good. So, yeah, like today I feel this, and I'm just like, I want more passion. And I just, yeah, it's just one day we'll get there. And I think, especially when you're on a job and there's high pressure, like Red Bull Rampage, we had a lot of things happen this year that were really heavy. And yeah, just being able to have a high intensity, a high heart-wrenching emotional moment and being able to be like breathe and be okay and not panic and not get upset and just be like, okay, this is the situation. How do we go from here? I think why I keep on getting hired on things is because there are situations, most likely on any given job, and how you deal with those things are so important. That's so important to client, producers, whatever it is, like it's so important. So that's kind of how it relates over to my creativity. Also, what time do you have to be off?
We've got like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, cool. Cool.
When I look at people, I'm definitely substantially older than you. But I'm inspired by, I have a really hard work ethic in my day-to-day job. I was brought up, my grandpa taught me, I was out chopping trees down with him when I was 6 or 7 years old, cutting firewood for our place on the Oregon coast. And, it was always from means to the end, but if I helped him prepare for the winter at the house, when BMX race season would start, my grandpa was my number one. He would be like, all right, what do we need this year? He'd buy me clothes. He took me in 1984, took me into the bike shop in Portland, and I was going to get gloves because I lost my gloves. And he's like, oh, I like these black and gold ones. And I was like, yeah, but they don't match my bike. Or, back then everything had to match perfectly. Still does, but so I was like, they don't match my bike. Yeah. And he's like, well, look at this jersey. This matches. And I'm like, but I don't ride that brand. And then, he's like, these race pants match. And I was like, Grandpa, like, it's not the colors. And next thing I know, the guy in the back's wheeling out a brand new PK Ripper fully built. And I was like, what's this? He's like, my grandpa's like, this is your new race bike. This is for working so hard. And back then, the PK Ripper was $1,200 in 1984.
Yeah.
Right? So you're doing like, my eyes, I was like, but right then it just showed like, I struggle with it now because you work so hard and you're like, did you even notice what I've been doing? Or is it just, you're so used to seeing me do it that it doesn't matter anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a struggle now at 50 that I didn't have. I just learned growing up, like the harder I work, the things that I want will come to me.
Yeah.
So you put it out there and you work
Yeah.
hard for it. And then as I grew older, and then I went through my first divorce, and everything was just crappy. That's when I started to really learn like grounding myself. So touching the grass with my bare feet and
Hmm.
just grounding myself to Mother Earth was so important to me. If I'm by water, I have to touch the water.
Hmm.
It has to be, I don't care if it's an ocean, a lake, a river, a stream, I have to touch it. And
Yeah.
that's just like me getting my connection back to the area I'm in. And so, yeah, I think when we have these rhythms and these patterns that you find that help yourself, like just jump into them.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. Oh, I love the outdoors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in a great place for it now. You're in Bend, Oregon, which was an amazing place.
Hmm.
Well, I miss it. I was there. We had a place at it was called the Inn of the Seventh Mountain, and it was this little resort. So it was like a old school timeshare.
Oh, cool.
And my parents owned the unit, and in the winter we would rent it out to skiers for Mount Bachelor.
Yep.
And in the summer we wouldn't
Bachelor.
rent it. Yeah, we wouldn't rent it out at all because we'd be there. So we'd be fishing, exploring all around the Deschutes River, rafting the Deschutes. So they would have like whitewater rafting trips, 4 or 5 a day out of this place go. And as soon as my dad and I showed up and they saw us, it would be every trip. There was times where I would be on that river from 8 o'clock in the morning until they finished their last run at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I'd
Yeah.
finish, they'd throw me in a bus, the van, and take me right back to the start to hop in to fill a seat. And I mean, I've been down that river. It's got to be 200-300 times,
Yeah.
and that was just I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it, and they knew that, so it was a way for me not having to pay for the adventure,
Yeah.
but still getting to do it. And we just got to take advantage of those things. And a lot of times we look at where we're at now and we judge ourselves against everybody because that's what we do as humans. But sometimes you have to stop and turn around and look at what you've done, where you've been, and how you overcame everything that was thrown your way to achieve the level you're at now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's,
I've definitely had some pretty heavy things happen in my life and, you know, physically and emotionally. And yeah, I think some of the things that I've experienced, not many people will ever experience. And I probably won't go into too much detail just because it is quite heavy and it's so early in the morning. But yeah, I've had like a pretty traumatic experience happen in wilderness therapy that changed my life forever. And then on top of that, yeah, almost died from a health thing in college. And yeah, those two instances were very eye-opening. And those were also things that like allowed me to push forward. I got through those things. It was really hard, but in the end, it was like those are probably the two hardest things I'll ever have to do in my whole entire life. And I got through it. And those two things have motivated me to try hard and find what really heals me, like the outdoors. And yeah, I don't know why I just said that, but it's just like, yeah, it's just really, really important to find those things.
that's the joys of this show is that it's not scripted, it's authentic, it's a pure conversation.
Yeah.
And you share details that at the end you're kind of like, whoa, but people listening will hear that and they'll relate to that. And that's why I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and record episodes at 6 a.m. because it's so
Thank
important.
you.
It's so important for people to hear. Like everybody thinks they're alone and
Yeah.
they're not. So before I log off here, there's two more things.
Okay.
I can't remember what I was going to say, and I can't remember what I was going to say because I'm still tired. I know one is where's the best place for people to connect with you,
Okay.
and two is actually it's the other way around. But first, any words of wisdom for people that want to get into the field you're in?
Yeah, so I definitely liked my answer in the first our first podcast, so I'll try to get it similar to that. But essentially with all that we've talked about today, I think there's a common theme of saying yes and really pushing through things when it gets hard. I think in today's society, the second things get hard, people are like, nope, I'm out. Like relationships, in work, in just friggin' life. Like people are like, oh, I can't do it. It's too hard. Like I'm backing out. I don't think I'd be where I am today if I didn't take on those challenges. And some of them I've definitely failed. A lot of them I've definitely failed. But you can still take away really important lessons in those failures. And it's so cliche, but honestly, like that's the only reason why I have a portfolio like I do. And I have succeeded a lot of my health issues and some of my personal struggles that I have. Like I've sat there, worked through them and keep going. And then I guess the point is just say yes. If you even slightly think about it, I'm like, oh, can I? Can I? Yes. Can I? Yes. Should I? Yes. Should I not? Yes. Go do it. Um, yeah, I really, really stand by that.
The power of yes.
And the power of yes is a big thing. And yeah, sometimes it'll slap you in the face. And there you go. That's you're awake now.
Yep. Where's the best place for people to find you?
Probably my Instagram. It's just Rachael.Galipo. And then my website has all of my images, my email. Yeah, I always try to give back to the community. So if there are people who ever want to talk to me, I will do my best to respond. And yeah.
Amazing. Well, I just want to say, like, one, it's been awesome getting to know you. This is our second go. I'm a big fan. I'll always be there to support, but I'm super proud of you for doing what you've done and inspiring so many people to chase a dream, chase the power that you find by saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. Thank you for sharing your words. Thank you for being willing. Thank you for being a friend. And I look forward to watching you continue to push. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, just let me know.
Yeah, Tyson, thank you so much. That was much better than the first go.
It was great.
Power of morning movement, man.
I appreciate your time. So enjoy the rest of your day. Get out and enjoy. It looks like you got sunshine today.
Yep. Looks like it's gonna be a good day.
Perfect. It's supposed to rain here. So, Canada, West Coast, wintertime. It's awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too. Bye, Rachel.
All right, bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Phys podcast. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, inspiration, or just a fresh perspective on the creative journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. For updates, behind-the-scene content, and more, please follow us on all social medias at LIFE_OF_PHYS. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links and resources from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep living the life of creativity.